Cristiano Ronaldo's overhead kick against Juventus in the UEFA Champions League is more than just a goal, it's a moment frozen in time, a masterpiece of athleticism, timing, and pure instinct. Football has seen many spectacular goals, but very few have crossed the line from being simply great to becoming eternal. Ronaldo's strike on that unforgettable night in Turin did exactly that. It transcended the occasion, the rivalry, the competition, and even the boundaries of fandom. It became a symbol of what is possible when talent, preparation, and courage meet in a single instant. The atmosphere that night was electric. Juventus Stadium was filled with passionate Italian supporters who had come to watch their team battle a dominant Real Madrid side. Everyone knew the challenge ahead was massive. Real Madrid, the kings of Europe, were at their peak, with Ronaldo leading the charge as he often did. Juventus fans, proud and passionate, were ready to roar their team forward. Yet none of them knew that they were about to witness one of the most extraordinary goals in Champions League history, one that would leave even the home fans cheering for an opposing player. From the opening whistle, the match carried an intense rhythm. Real Madrid pressed high, Juventus defended with determination, and every touch of the ball echoed the weight of European glory. Ronaldo had already established himself as a nightmare for defenders, and every time he touched the ball, there was a murmur in the crowd, a sense that something dangerous could happen. His movements were sharp, his positioning perfect, and his hunger for goals, as always, unmatched. The first goal came early. Isco delivered a pinpoint cross, and Ronaldo, reacting with lightning speed, slid the ball past Buffon with his weaker foot. It was a classic Ronaldo finish, simple, effective, and devastating. But no one knew that this was not the moment they would remember. The real magic was still to come. As the match progressed, Juventus tried to fight back. They pushed forward, created chances, and tried to break down Real Madrid's defense. But the Spanish giants held their ground. Then came the moment in the second half, one that would change the narrative of the match, the season, and arguably the modern history of football. Dani Carvajal whipped in a cross, but it wasn't a simple ball. It came at an awkward height, slightly behind Ronaldo's running line, and most players would have either let it pass or tried a simple chest control. But Ronaldo is not most players. In a split second, he recalibrated his body, leapt into the air with unbelievable height, twisted his torso, and executed one of the cleanest overhead kicks the world has ever seen. The stadium fell silent for a fraction of a second as the ball flew past Gianluigi Buffon, one of the greatest goalkeepers in history, and slammed into the back of the net. It wasn't just a goal. It was art, a moment that blurred the line between sport and poetry. Ronaldo's body suspended in perfect form, the ball striking with perfection, and Buffon helplessly watching, it all felt like a cinematic scene created to inspire generations. As the ball settled, there was a pause. Then, something extraordinary happened. The Juventus supporters, known for their fierce loyalty and their passion, began to applaud. Not just a few scattered claps, but a full standing ovation from the entire stadium. They knew what they had just witnessed. They knew they had just seen something historic, something rare, something worthy of respect beyond rivalry. In that moment, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't belong to Real Madrid, Portugal, or any club. He belonged to football. The clip spread globally within minutes, replayed from every angle, slowed down, analyzed, and celebrated. It became the #1 replay on sports networks and social media for weeks. People who had never watched football before were sharing the moment. Commentators struggled to find the right words. Even players from rival teams publicly praised the strike. It was not simply a goal, it was a universal moment of awe. UEFA later opened voting for the goal of the season, and the result was never in doubt. Ronaldo's overhead kick dominated the poll, securing nearly 200,000 votes out of 346,915. Fans from all corners of the world, Madridistas, Juventini, neutrals, voted overwhelmingly for the masterpiece. The fact that the goal was scored against the club Ronaldo would later join added a beautiful twist to the story. Juventus fans, who once applauded his brilliance as opponents, would soon cheer for him as their own player. What made this goal so special wasn't only the acrobatics or the precision. It was the context. The Champions League, a knockout match, one of the strongest defensive teams in Europe, a legendary goalkeeper between the posts. A moment when the match was still very much alive. Ronaldo has scored hundreds of goals, headers, free kicks, long-range rockets, tap-ins, volleys, but this one felt like a culmination of everything he had become. The power, the technique, the athleticism, the timing, the courage, it was all there, compressed into 2 seconds of pure brilliance. As analysts later reviewed the footage, several astonishing details emerged. Ronaldo reached a height of around 2.38 meters at the peak of his jump, an almost impossible elevation for a player at that age. His body formed a near-perfect horizontal line, demonstrating exceptional flexibility and strength. The timing between his leap, the cross, and the contact was almost mathematical in precision. There was no luck involved. It was pure skill, honed through years of relentless training. And yet, for Ronaldo, the overhead kick was not about statistics or records. It was about instinct and desire. He had attempted such shots many times before. Some went wide, some hit defenders, some missed entirely. But on that night, everything aligned: the ball, the moment, the player, the history. After the match, Ronaldo himself admitted that it was one of the best goals of his career. His teammates embraced him, the commentators lost their voices, and fans, both in the stadium and across the world, couldn't stop talking about it. The applause he received from the Juventus fans became one of the most heartwarming scenes in sports. Moments of respect like that are rare in football. They reminded the world that beyond the rivalry, beyond the colors, beyond the competition, there is a shared love for greatness. The significance of this goal continued even after the match and the season ended. Ronaldo transferred to Juventus later that summer, and many fans believed that the applause he received that night played a subtle role in his decision. He spoke openly about how special it felt, how grateful he was, and how the gesture touched him deeply. It created a bond between him and Juventus before he even wore their jersey. Ronaldo's bicycle kick also won UEFA's goal of the season, succeeding Mario Mandzukic's own incredible overhead kick from the previous Champions League final. It was poetic that two consecutive award-winning goals came from the same rivalry but on opposite sides. And Lionel Messi, another rival in the GOAT conversation, had won the award in 2014, showing that greatness recognizes greatness, and legends often chase each other across eras. Today, years later, Ronaldo's overhead kick remains one of the most replayed goals in football history. Commentators still use it as a reference point for measuring other scissor kicks or acrobatic attempts. Young players around the world try to copy it in training grounds, backyards, and streets. Coaches use it to teach technique, fans frame photos of it on walls. It has become an iconic moment, immortalized in discussions, videos, compilations, and memories. This goal also reflects something deeper about Ronaldo himself. His career has always been built on pushing limits. When people thought he had reached his peak, he found a new level. When critics doubted him, he responded with performances that silenced stadiums. The overhead kick was not just a display of physical ability, it was a message that greatness has no age, no limits, and no boundaries. His professionalism, work ethic, and hunger to improve allowed him to produce a moment that will be remembered for generations. Long after he retires, people will still talk about that night in Turin, that impossibly high leap, that perfect connection, and that unforgettable applause. It is a moment that defines the magic of the UEFA Champions League, the unpredictability of football, and the brilliance of Cristiano Ronaldo. Years from now, when football fans talk about legendary Champions League moments, this goal will always be near the top of the list. Not because it was flashy, but because it was meaningful. It captured the essence of the sport, the excitement, the passion, the surprise, the respect. It reminded us of why we watch football, to witness moments that leave us breathless, moments that stay with us forever. Cristiano Ronaldo's overhead kick against Juventus was not just the UEFA.com goal of the season. It was a reminder of what makes football extraordinary. A reminder that a single moment can inspire millions. A reminder that legends are not just born, they are built, trained, challenged, and proven under the brightest lights. And on that night in Turin, in a stadium filled with rivals, Cristiano Ronaldo wrote one of the brightest pages of his legendary story.